Hey guys, it's your neighborhood graphic designer here to show that you are playing Planet Coaster 2 the wrong way. Grab a drink, get comfy, and together we are going to help you build the park of your dreams. Alright, so where we left off last time was that our coaster had gone up to max prestige. We had added a decent amount of scenery just to create a foundation for us finishing off now this first main area. So this is just kind of our entry plaza. And then from there, once that's set, we have a foundation that's making a good amount of money. From there, then we're going to start building off different offshooted regions, and then we'll go from there. So now that this coaster's open, it's got 1,000 prestige. You can see already guests are flocking in, so this should be making money pretty quickly. So now, plan is we are going to add 2 more rides. As I talked about before, I try to do everything in 3s. So if we get 3 pretty solid rides going, it should make a good amount of money. And then from there, our foundation is set, and then we can add all the little stuff. So add those rides. We're gonna add, little things like benches, trash cans, lights, add signs, a few facilities, and then some in between the line stuff. So add little things like little rest areas, so as people are walking around, they can chill, relax, enjoy scenery. And then, of course, because this isn't just any park, this is your park, so can add little pockets of you. So that could be anything, particularly that maybe relates in your life, something that you look at and just kind of brings a little bit of joy. A little more on that later, though. So first, we need to make sure that we have our palette set. So if you're not sure if your palette's set, you just go in, really just put something down, take a look, let's see what I got. So you can see mine are all saved, which is great. However, if yours not, or if you had quit, or you had deleted that initial set of 5 panels with our swatches on it, that's fine. You can just remake it. What I did is I made mine as a blueprint so that in case something weird happens, you're gonna have it. So we're gonna go to My Creations under Blueprints, and you can see right there, it's nice and good. So we'll just put this off to the side. You can save this for later, in case we need it. The key is you can really just put that down, and then you will have your swatches back in your swatches panel. So mine are already there, which is great, but that's just a really nice little fail-safe there so that you don't have to go back and try to figure out what your colors are, because as I talked about before, to really make a park that's seamless and it feels like it's all pulling together, a color scheme is super important. And if you want to get into how to make a good color scheme, how to make those colors work together, second video in this series has that, but it's all about basically going into the manual color picker and looking at the red, green, and blue values at the bottom. See how stuff's moving around and all that. Like I said, you can go back to video 2 and take a look at that if you'd like. We have our really nice color scheme here, and we're gonna get into it. So we got about 22,000. This guy's gonna be making money, so I'm not too worried. So I think the plan here is that we are going to add those next 2 rides first, just so we can start making more money, and then we'll worry about all the little stuff and adding some real quality to everything. And for now, I'm actually going to change the lighting, fix sun, just so you can see everything. Once we get lights up and stuff, then we can enjoy it at nighttime. So the question is, what kind of rides we want to put in? This being the main area, we want to cater to all guests. So this coaster was, if I remember right, not bad. It was good. So 4.49 fear is honestly not terrible. That should cater to some younger guests, maybe some families, but for the most part, we did have a little higher knowledge. I think it's going to be more adults. So I think that we want to get some families in the park since they buy 4 drinks instead of 1. Or they spend money on 4 souvenirs, not 1. So I think we'll build to start maybe a more gentle ride. So let's see what we got. I think we'll save the aeroplane for later. I think I go carousel, right? Need some music play. Sure. Yeah, looks pretty cool. Has some nice music. So the question is, where are we going to put this? So the biggest thing is we want to make sure that all this scenery that we already spent money on, we want to get as much value as possible. So we could put this guy like out here. Right now it's got its own area and stuff like that. But two things. Number one, you can see at the top of the red goes to green. That would indicate that we're close enough to the generator that we don't have to buy a second generator. Super important because decent amount of money, decent amount of upkeep. But more importantly, if it's out here, we have to build all this new scenery. None of this is counting for the carousel, prestige, as well as the coaster. So the question is, where can we squeeze this in so that we can double? And then the thirdly, thinking about guest movement. So we have a lot of people coming in here. They're going out of the exit here, coming across around there. So we do want to get them around the whole area. So my thoughts are, if we can squeeze this in maybe somewhere around here, we're going to utilize a lot of the scenery. And then on top of that, anything we put down for the carousel will still also work for the coaster. So I think we'll put this guy down, then we'll move some trees. And the key as well is we can make this exit key really tiny and small as well. So I think that looks pretty good. I think we're actually going to raise it a little bit so that we're creating a little bit of separation from the path. And we can bring in some terrain elements as well. There. Cool. Why don't we get these trees out of the way. And we still want to use them because we don't want to lose that prestige. The coaster. Get that guy there. So just sneak this guy in here for now. And we can always move these later. Pretty good though. How's that look? Looks like that guy's inside the carousel as well. He is. And actually, the closer that gets to the coaster tracks, it actually adds a little more fear, which is cool. Alright, let's maybe we gotta move. I think we gotta move this guy. Oh, that's a really big one. That guy we should be good. Let's just move that a little more away. Cool. Alright, that should be good for now. So let's get this testing, because there's a couple ways we're gonna increase prestige. Obviously, naturally, it's a more gentle ride, so prestige is gonna be a little bit lower. To start, we'll just get that going. We'll start building the base of this area. And as we talked about in previous videos, we're not just building a ride plus scenery. We're building a whole area, is the way you have to think of it, right? It's this whole little section right here is how we want to design it. And the idea being that everything is seamless, everything works together, and then we can go from there. All right. So to start, while that's testing, just to see where our baseline is, I'm actually going to pull this ground up a little bit. Looks pretty good. Alright. Oops. A little too much. A little too much. Good news is, in this game graph, terrain is free. Not to worry too much. Cool. But what I wanted to go for is the terrain can create a little bit of separation between the coaster and the carousel, and then also kind of give that look like it's on a hill. Looks like the path's in the way a little bit, so when we get that out of the way and edit. Go back and we'll push the path back later. Cool. That should be fine. And again, we'll fix that later. What this does is creates a little verticality, so it creates kind of multiple layers where we could have stuff going on right next to the carousel, and it could bump right up to it, and it's not all touching. Good, so there we go. That's what I want. I just want to create a little bit of a surface. I'll fix that later. See how we're doing. All right, so 435 as expected. Ride experience is pretty low, right? To start, base experience 200. We go over to our lovely coaster. Base ride experience 766. So you can see the maximum scenery bonus we can get is 500. We actually already are halfway there because, as I talked about before, we put it in a section where there's very lot going on, saves us money and time. So the max we're going to get out of this is 700, and that's fine, we can live with that. However, there is a little trick with some other flat rides that you can do where you can change some of this. So we can play around with some of the sequences. On this ride in particular, we're not going to get a lot. It can actually just make it last longer and be a little bit slower. However, we play around with it a little bit and see if we can eke out even another 50 to 100. So why don't we add another sequence? And we just got to play around with it. And what we could do is, as we're building the scenery, we're just going to try different combinations and go there. I haven't really worked out exactly. And obviously, we got to add some music. And let's see what we want. Oh, there we go. Of course. All right, cool. So we'll see how that does, see if that changes anything. But we got about 250 scenery points to go. So we got the trees, which is great. And as I talked about before in previous videos, it's really more about the value of the scenery versus how much you're putting in. But at the same time, we want to make sure everything looks seamless and is working with not only our color schemes, but general themes of the park. So why don't we change the colors first? Fit our scheme. So the yellow is not part of our scheme. We have our higher contrast items, particularly our white, and then this kind of pinkish blue. See how the white and the blue looks. Horrible. Get that yellow out of there first, though. Oh, interesting. Looks like it actually, for some reason, just cleared my swatches. So as talked about before, it's great that we put that blueprint down. So those should all be saved now. Let's go over here and see how we look. Oh, okay, wow. So it actually boosts the ride experience a decent amount. So I think we're actually going to leave it there. That's pretty good. So let's see if all our stuff's saved. Nice. All right, cool. So we have it all back. Not sure what happened there, but that's why you create fail-safe, just in case. Cool. So I like this. Looks pretty good. Matches our overall color palette. Raises it a little bit, which adds another dimension, which is great. We can get some stuff in this space, and it doesn't feel like we're interacting with each other. But I think we had what, another 265 worth of scenery. That should be cake. So let's see if we can get something that works with both of these. I'm actually gonna move this guy down a bit. We'll treat this like a bush because we're gonna add in, I think, some sort of water element that relates to the coaster. So let's do this. Ideally, if you can create stuff that works with the coaster and the carousel, this adds more value to both. We always want to double dip if possible. So we're gonna go special effects. We talked about little pockets view. For me personally, I'm a surfer. I'm in the water all the time, so in my parks, I always like to throw in as much water as possible. So I think we're gonna go with, why don't we do, what that look like? No. Water splash. No, I think something where, alright, let's do this. Let's do the water jet large. And we're gonna have it only get triggered by the coaster, and it'll be kind of like dancing fountains, I guess, is the way to think of it. Let's do this. sure it's sitting inside the pavement or the terrain. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We talked about some other videos as well. Rules of 3. This adds a nice symmetry to things. And also even just always looks a little funny, but more importantly, does feel pretty good to space. Looks pretty cool. But if we can add a trigger sequence from the coaster, it'll add some nice fluidity, and as the coaster's going by, it'll set it off. So, we're gonna go over to our trigger sequence. We have a couple. We're gonna place a new one. Let's go this way. Cool. Would be nice if you could do a faster version of that, but we'll live with it. All right, so cool. So we're gonna have it trigger when it's about, say, here. We're gonna that one, right? Cool. We're gonna name that one Carousel Water, just so we remember for later. We're gonna edit, and we're gonna add some objects. So we're gonna add all these guys. One, and you can actually just hold down the select button and drag over it, and it'll just select all of them. These can be really hard to select, especially if they are underground. So we got all 9. They're all here. And now we're just gonna move each one. So we'll start each one. Try 0.2 seconds. We'll play for 1.5. That one's gonna start at 0, and from there, each one's just gonna be an additional 20 seconds. So that starts at 40, 150, 60, 150, 140. 50, 80, 150. And I may have overdone it with the gaps between each one, but we'll live with it. That'll be 1 minute, or 1 second, 150, 120, 150, 140, and 160. Alright, that's pretty cool. Alright, Alright, so we'll wait for our coaster to go by and see how he did, but for whatever reason the game really likes these animatronics, adds a lot of prestige. So we'll wait for our coaster to come by. Looks like one's on its way. See how already we're doing. Right, so that's already almost increased to 100. And all we did was put water down. That's because the game really rewards you using the trigger mechanic, which makes sense. I mean, also it looks sick. So, all right, here we go. All right, so that looks pretty sick. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I think what we need to do here is, I think we only need to add a couple more things, and the carousel actually should be good to go. So I think rather than looking at what we want to do the carousel, I think we look at what we want to do to this area. So my thoughts are, let's just start by, as always, we get our general foundation of the general section we're working on. So it's just like you pulling out the piece of paper. So we have this is raised over here. So a great way to kind of identify this area without like putting a big fence and a sign is just, what if both sides are both raised at the same height? So as your eye just naturally sees a bit of contrast, which is one of those design principles that we talked about in the last video, is contrast, consistency, both play a big part. In this instance, the contrast could actually be not like contrast of color or contrast of texture, but just in height. And what that does is it just draws the eye. So what we're gonna do is pull out our trusty flattened foundation. It's pretty good there. I'm gonna pull this over quickly. What we'll do is this area in general is gonna be that same height. So as people are coming in, you can see, oh, that looks like one full section. We'll be kind of close to this. I think we overdid it a little bit. That's okay. Cool. Nice. So as we're kind of coming in, you're going to see that there's raised platforms there. So what we can do is we can add some stuff across the street. And this can be our little kind of area with the carousel. So as people are going to the carousel, they are going to also be hanging out in this area. So I think what we do is I think we make this a rest area on this side. So people as they walk across, right, because that's, it's fairly far. They've made it all the way over here. We now need them to hopefully stay and buy some stuff. So I think we'll maybe also quickly put a picture in. So why don't we figure out what the pathing's going to be first. We'll put the exit down. That's pretty sick. Exit. Alright, so I think the entrance can be wherever. The exit is where we want them to walk by the thing we're trying to have them buy. So I think we put the entrance back here. We'll go underground and we'll see if we can maybe get to the other side. I think that's the best way to do it. Ideally, we want them traveling from the exit back to the entrance with something in between that they can then buy. Because the guests in this game like to ride the rides basically back to back, or like right in a row, the same ride, so that we can kind of take advantage of that. All right, exit, same thing. Let's see where we have space. We go underground or do we go over? You know what? Just gave me an idea. What if we actually go over? We'll worry about the color and stuff later. Can we make it? Oh, we can. Cool. So make like a little bridge almost. And again, without creating any fences, we're actually kind of cordoning off our area a bit. Just green cobblestones. Alright, we'll have to change that. We'll do that later though. Alright, can we make it down? Let's see if we can make it all the way down to the floor. Oh yeah. Alright, perfect. So now we have that. And we're going to just get this straight, just so we can corner off our section here. Cool, cool. I'm going to move these trees a little bit. Nice, I'm liking this a lot. Great, so we have a little section here, and then we'll get the entrance over there. Build some sort of little bridges or something, and then we kind of have our isolated little carousel section without disrupting any traffic flow. This can be a little trickier. We'll worry about the color and stuff later. Just get this built. So, let's see. It's gonna be tricky because the coaster's right here. You know what, we already have the coaster going over, so why don't we actually have this guy go under, just so we don't have too much clutter. Alright, so we're just gonna go straight down, I think. Gonna make it, no. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Gonna have to probably wrap around. Long queues are fine. What the problem is always long exits, because then it just takes some people too long. So I'm just gonna make it. Alright. Then we're gonna come around here. We're gonna make our way up, and we want the exit entrance to be on opposite sides, as we talked about, so that they have to walk from one to the other, and then they're gonna shop. Looks like we actually overran it a little bit. Let's see if we can get a little bit of up. I really want to get it to about maybe here. Pretty steep. Gonna make it. There we go. Easy. There we go. That's kind of cool because it's going underneath the coaster as well. So that's another dimension. But we have the entrance here, the exit here. So as you're getting off the ride, hopefully they're gonna walk by. Maybe on the way to the entrance, something in this space. So what we'll do is we're gonna put our facilities right smack in the middle, and they have no way to walk by without hopefully buying something. So we do need to connect this. So it looks like it's a little too steep. So we're going to make some more adjustments here. Pull this back a little bit. That is look. Alright. Let's make this pretty small. Cool. I'm trying to edit this a little bit. Looks like we can see at the bottom, we're already racking in money. That's after spending some, so honestly might have to get this guy open soon. Where we at? 710. And the reason why that jumped up is by throwing the Q line in, you get some credit for being considered Q scenery as well. So that helps a lot. So it looks like we only got 70 away actually with us. And if we can add some stuff over here, it'll actually match in. Cool. So I think what we'll do is we'll throw the facilities right here. I think it's a little smaller. Curve this off a bit. And we can actually add some scenery to those, as well as it should be close enough to get both the ride, the coaster, the carousel, and the queue actually. So what do we want to build? Let's see if people are hungry yet actually. Let's see. Hunger. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Alright, not too bad actually. You can build whatever you want. So I think we're actually going to build just some pretty basic souvenir shop. What do I want to go with? Oh, they gotta go balloons, right? It's always nice to see them walking out with the balloons. So I think what we'll do is we'll sneak that in right there. Cool, cool. So then as they're walking by from here to the ride, or if they're even walking just in the entrance of the area into the ride, hopefully they'll stop by and buy a lovely balloon. So what do we want to do here? We have our color scheme, which is great. We have our general theme, which has been, if I remember right, was it wood plank? Let's see. Wood batten. All right, cool, perfect. So we're going to go with that then. So we'll just go wood batten. And we can add little differences, but we want that consistency throughout this area. So we are going to go with the same, at least material type and color scheme. So all the way at the bottom. And as I talked about before, I really like the wood batten because it has those really cool trim pieces. So wood batten. So we're just gonna go general shop entrance. And we're gonna go our white or off-white just to start. And whenever you're designing anything, you always just put something out there. So right now we're just going to put our generic off-white, and then from there you just make little tweaks. But if you sit and try and make all these decisions before you even start, you're never going to get anywhere. So that's kind of a really good creative tip. Whether it's an essay, whether it's a story, whether it's you're drawing something, just start. And you actually find that where you end up is not where you initially thought you were going to, and that's kind of the best part, is you got to kind of go with it. So we'll just build this for now. Cool, cool, looks pretty good. Let's add in some nice trim pieces. What do we want to go with? Here's the carousel area, so I think some sort of kind of crown related thing could be fun. Let's see what we got. Look at this. Which one do we want to go with? Oh, you know what? Is this the wood batten? I don't think this is. Oh, that's a Viking one. That looks a little different. Cool. We'll just swap that out. Glad I caught that. I do like the Viking piece swap though. We'll definitely use that in another area. But I have a lot of parks where I almost exclusively use that. find the wood batten then. I see, it's down here. Cool, wood batten. The good thing about one of the updates I think they made a couple months ago is now, whatever color you're using, if you use the same texture type, so like the wood batten walls or anything wood batten category, it keeps the colors that you're using, which is cool. Before, you'd always have to go back and put it in. It's kind of a pain. Cool. All right, we're in there. I think, why don't we try... Oh, something like tent roof would be kind of cool. Well, let's try the roofs first. We might not even need the trim. Some sort of like tent roof would be kind of cool since it's a like a carousel. Let's see what we got. Oh, those are cool. They're gonna match the castle minaret. Oh, here we go. Kind of like castle, maybe. Yeah, like castle spire looks. Yeah, to get the color right. I don't know if it's quite big enough though. No, just go for it. Screw it. See what happens. So it looks like we kind of want more with that teal on the there. So why don't we try that? I don't know where the red is. At the top. Right, so we're not using red. So we're gonna actually use. We'll use that white for now. Cool. So now how can we dress this up? Kind of finish off. So again, we just have our template here. We have our general starting point, and now we just kind of go for some stuff and we see what happens. See if this thing succeeds at all. And there you go. Alright, cool. So let's take some inspiration from there itself. We have some stripes, so let's get some blue in there. And sometimes if I don't know what to do, I'll just go literally to all. Just kind of scroll through and see what we got. Maybe some like flags or something could be kind of fun since that's similar to the carousel. What we got? Some flags. Oh, this way. What if the stick and the line of service are nice to get stuff set, but then I usually turn it off once I have my general bearings, because then I get a little creative. So maybe we got some flags hanging from here, and that'll kind of cover up some of these dirty spots a bit. It's a circle. It's going to be a little tricky. Let's see how this looks. We got our colors, so we want a little bit of contrast, not too much, but a little bit of pop. So maybe do like the darker blue, and we'll just see how that looks. We're just going to keep putting it. Oh, let me try that again. And we're just going to keep rotating this around, I think. And we're just going to keep rotating this around. Cool. Well, this is actually creating kind of a bit of a trim, and then maybe we'll probably put like a little trim piece just to clean all this up. Because there are some like moving pieces in there that look a little funny. Not bad though. I guess I could use angle snap for this, but that's okay. I guess it's daytime, so why don't we actually turn off that global lighting? It's not bad. So, just that way we can get some real sun. And actually, now that we have 3, looks like that needs to be out a little farther. You know what? Better idea. Oh, initially I was going to remove the flag, but actually, why don't we remove the outer casing? Let's see how it looks actually. Instead of the walls itself, they're getting in the way. It looks a little too blocky. Now that we talked about we had our kind of our baseline, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to advance, move, and duplicate. And we're gonna Okay. Cool. Gotta get rid of this. See if this works. May not work. We'll see though. I guess we don't really want one in the front though. So I think that'll work. With this front guy. Yeah, so it actually almost looks like a little bit of a carousel. And we'll figure out what we want to do underneath for a second. Just get these flags all the way around. Oop. And if you really want to be specific, I guess we could have used the angle snap, but that's okay. We're just going to kind of approximate it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, sometimes that's the nice part about all this is it's not perfect, and that's what kind of makes it your part, your project. That line looks pretty good. All right, the last one. Yep. It's a little tilted, so I'll use that. Cool. Nice. So, it's pretty cool actually. I think lastly, we just need to add something to cover up the base underneath these flags, and then we're kind of good. And since it is since it is the balloons, I think we gotta add some balloon related stuff. So I think there is a balloon sign. May have to search. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Cool. Nice. So let's get our quickly stick to surface, just to line. That didn't quite work, that's okay. Alright. It'd be cool if they had like actual I could, I guess, make actual balloons, but the sign just is a little... Let's see how this looks. Option A is we do that, or option B is we make some balloons ourselves. Probably prefer to just use the sign for now, so let's see how this looks. See if we can... It adds a little, and this does also add some advertising for the balloons too, which is cool. You know what? Looks a little too blocky in my opinion. I think we're gonna have to make our own. That should be in our objects. I think we'll just get some spheres in here, and then we'll see kind of what happens. Sphere. Nice. And from here, it's kind of fun. We just do some different colors. Cool. So we'll just put them down, and then we'll change the colors after. Again, as talked about before, kind of go for it. This is an idea. And let's kind of come to light and see what you like, what you really want. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. And then now what we can do is add a little more contrast. Can we change the size of these? Let's see. Perfect. All right, so what we're going to do is, general design rules, always rules of 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 different variations of sizes, and adds just a little more quality. So we're going to choose a couple. We'll go 1, 2, maybe 3. Advance, move. Scale, we'll go 110, and then we'll go 90. And all that does is it just adds a little bit of variation. Go 1, 2, make those ones 90. Adds a lot of layers of quality with a really simple concept, which is nice. Okay. add in our different colors. And for this one, we're not going to keep our color scheme since we wanted them to do a little contrast to draw eyes to the balloon shack, and also the balloons come in different colors. We got yellow, got orange. Oh, now let's go yellow. Let's go green. A little more yellow. A little more green. Throw some red in there. You can be a little smart with this, where you can kind of put stuff together that doesn't clash too much. Green and yellow. How about a white? Get maybe a pink in there. Maybe one more. Yeah, we'll get this one pink as well. Black? Nah, who buys a black balloon? Well, maybe somebody. Not me though. Yeah? Cool. Not bad actually. Let's see what the... Yeah, doesn't like the scenery for it yet. We'll add a little bit more. Okay, I think lastly we do need to add some sort of texture here to cover up this kind of base layer. So let's see what we can come up with. I think there is some paneling that doesn't lock on, so it's not as thick. And then we can, here I got the resort one. Love this. Nice and thin, which is cool. And I guess the wood works since it's, balloons are a little bit like that, but also it's not overwhelming with how thick it is. Line the surface. Oh, we can. Nice. Okay, cool. We have a lot of rotating here. Always important, do world versus relative. See how it helps a lot in terms of keep things organized, and if for some reason the axes don't work, then you just switch it back. So this one, you green, go that way a bit. Go forward a little bit. Go up. That's not gonna work with the flags. It works in the back ones though. Let's see. Nice. This one should be fine. And this one, these ones are not, since they don't work on the grid, you can actually scale these, which is great. So these we can totally squeeze right in. And can't forget about color scheme. I think for this we just go the white. And see, I added all these different colors. We talked about before how you want to re-add this to your tray. I can just go back to my blueprint. I could add this in. So we'll go with our white though. Just so we have maximum contrast. See how that looks. Cool. And from here, since it's not linked to the grid, we can really do whatever we want, which is nice. The grid is nice because it keeps everything organized, but sometimes it can be a little too organized. Cool. We might have to move that flag out a bit. That's okay. And if we did want to use the angle snap, we can just do 45. So in this instance, super good. And we're good there. Nice. Alright, we'll go nice and down. Nice, not bad. And actually, because it has those flags, it kind of adds a little bit of movement almost, which is kind of cool. Cool. Let's move this out a little bit so it's outside the corner. Nice. Love that. Yeah, it's playing a little here at the bottom, and then we're good. Nice. Half wall. I think we can live with that. And for this instance, the sticking to the wall is perfect. Alright. We're gonna do our... How's this guy look? Good. We can stick the surface off so that we can go a little farther behind the flag. Might move the flag forward a little bit. We can limit that if needed. Not too worried about this because this is going to hold the sign. Pull that that out. We rotate that a bit so that it's touching the other one. Oh, I still have angle snap on. Cool. Not perfect, but we can live with it. Cool. Add that balloon sign, and then we should be good. Let's do the one with the words as well. How does this guy look? Stick to surface. Try and have this fill up as much as possible. Yeah, stick the surface off. Cool. Cool. Not bad. How are we doing? 720. Alright, good. So we add a little bit more. So I think we'll come back to this. We got a little bit of white space here we can work with. And we're gonna save that for a little bit later. For now, when we finish this guy off, so we can get it open, and then we're good to go. So we have the water around there. We can add some stuff. Why don't we add a little nice border? Talk about what we would like trim. Maybe we got something nice that can kind of cover up this railing a bit. Could go with fence. But what if we played off kind of the surrounding area a bit? Remember, we're looking at this as a full area. We got trees, we got flags. Maybe do some sort of flag related thing just so everything pulls together. I don't remember where that was. It was around here somewhere. A little farther. Did I miss it? Maybe we'll find something else on our way. Kind of the fun part. There's so many different items in this game. Let's see. Maybe it didn't. I feel like I saw something that could be interesting. Bunting flag. Oh, there we go. Like I said, we weren't even looking for that. We kind of found what we wanted though. So why don't we just put these around so we can use the railing. Not too worried. We'll just throw these all the way around. And actually, it already kind of has our color scheme, which is cool. Obviously, we need to adjust it a little bit. Nice. A little bit. Cool. So we'll do is this will just kind of go all the way around, and these kind of flag type concept can just be what this whole little area around the carousel within our bigger main area can be. So I got the blue, which is cool. We're gonna use our teal, and this will. Gray's okay. Gray's neutral. You always want to have one neutral color in your palette. Ours is that off-white. I think gray's okay too. All right, cool. See how that did? I only got maximum scenery. Let's go. And actually, we could make it go all the way around. However, by leaving little gaps, it's a little more contrast. So it adds another little layer. So, like the carousel is done, which is fantastic. So, let's get that guy open. Let's get this guy open. Gotta hire one more vendor, since that guy's gonna have to go on a break. We'll talk about staff and all that later. And hopefully people start writing. Let's take a look at the price. 3, let's put that down to 2. So even though the stats are not great, it doesn't matter because the prestige is so good, so people will still write it. Give us a nice name. Cool, cool. And not bad. So I think after this, we got to add one maybe thrill ride, which will get some more older customers, older guests in. So we have a little bit of everything. You already see we have some people heading towards our carousel. Hopefully they're going to buy something as well. But you can see how good the Prestige is. So they're just in the area. Let's see what they're going to do. There you go. Right, and you can see the reason why they're even actually coming in is the good scenery. Right, so it makes a massive difference. So they didn't buy anything, not yet. Maybe after the ride they'll want to buy a balloon. And then from here, we can add some stuff like a bridge if we wanted. But in general, just this scene alone, this little area, has a nice kind of cozy feel to it. And as we add benches and stuff, people are going to want to hang out here. We'll add benches and all that later. Let's get that third ride in just so we really start pumping money. They go to the carousel as well. Oh, there we go. We got our first customers, actually. Sick. And hopefully buy 4 balloons. Should watch. Let's see what they go for. Come on. What color do we go with? Let's see what they went with. Oh! Dang, those are sick. We'll talk about shop management later, but let's see all the colors. They actually went with the Viking one, even. $15 for a balloon. That's crazy. Alright, well, later we can talk about pricing. Maybe we can adjust some. But for now, I think we want to get people to sign. So, it's pretty good. Why don't we just take a look at how this looks as a whole? This area, besides benches and stuff, I do like it a lot. So I think what we'll do is, we'll leave this for now, and then we're going to move on to adding that third ride. So we got a ride here, got a ride here. So I guess what we want to decide on is what do we want, where do we want our next zone to be? Because that's where we want foot traffic to be. So I think, so we have the exit coming, or the entrance to the park is you go underground, and then you enter, where is it, here? You enter through here. It'd be great to people to maybe come this way, and that way they can kind of, well, we did have the bathroom here though. So you always want to look at stuff based on trying to make things as efficient as possible for guests. So I want it raised a bit like the other one. I think we put it back a bit, and then what happens is you have to walk by the coaster, which has the special effects, and that'll create some queue scenery and ride scenery. So we did water on the other one, so I think we do fire on this one. Cool. So let's get this testing, because we are going to want to change sequences. Let's just see where the baseline is at. This ride's crazy. Look at this tree. I just want the tree. Come on. You gotta be joking. There we go. Cool. So let's see where it's at already. So the ride experience alone is pretty solid, 460. So good starting prestige, but we still got a good amount that we can bring in with the scenery, which is great. So to start, let's give us a little breathing room with these trees. And then from there, we are going to, actually in this instance, let's build the entrance next first, because that's going to affect the special effects. I'm expecting this one to be pretty popular, so let's actually put the entrance right here. Exit, we're going to put right here. And as we talked about before, we want there to be a nice little economic zone. Basically, between the exit and the entrance. So we're going to do that. We could use the stamp builder, but it should be fine. And again, gosh, green cobblestone again. We'll change that later. Let's just get everything set so we start making money. So this guy's just going to go right here. We're going to have the queue path. Have that guy wind a little bit. Maybe we have see what we're gonna put over here, but we can have the queue kind of wind around. Do the trees. That should be kind of fun. I should actually boost it right away. Oh gosh, can we squeeze in there? Do we go this way? Maybe go this way. Cool. Nice. And in this instance, I actually think we're going to use the stamp delete tool, and we're going to put that, we're going to have something in the middle here. Nice. I can get rid of those railings too. Cool. Oh, corners. Let's see if we can get this. There we go. Cool. Cool. Yeah, nice. Got a little bit of movement. Cool. All right, and I think from there, I think on top of that, I think we just add a ton of little volcanoes. And we can just make this like a volcano area. Cool. So pretty solid. See how we did now. We should be there. Yep, maxed out. 960, pretty damn good. So we're gonna open that up. Any name in particular? I don't know. This one looks pretty crazy. I feel like you're gonna lose your brain. You do scrambled egg when you're on it. We call it the Miser. Come out of it, you don't have a brain anymore. Cool. 1860, jeez. Let's just do 14. I want to get people on the ride. Alright, but now that we have our third ride, we should start bagging money. And you can already see we got 116 guests now. Actually, let's look at our park rating. It's already 1.1. Tax and prestige obviously is off the charts. Senior rating's pretty good. It's actually telling us that in order to move our park along, we really need 2 more attractions, which we're going to do in a second. For now, we'll just start making money. I think what we do is now we can kind of finish up this area by cleaning stuff up a bit, like right here. We can add on like our benches, our trash cans, stuff like that. And then we'll add a couple little pockets of us in there. I talked about for me, I like to do like a lot of water features, so like little fountains and stuff, so I think we'll add those in. And then we should be able to get ready to add in our next section, which is going to be a whole new area, and that's going to be specialized. But for now, why don't we just finish this off? Cool. So you can see, as talked about before, we want everything functional, but also we want all these kind of little pockets of view. So for me, I'm in water all the time, love surfing, live near the beach, so I love that all these little water effects. And there's nothing they've worked on as much compared to Planet Coaster 1 to 2 as the water, since they added all the swimming effects in the pool. So great use of dev time, in my opinion. So I think we'll have our foundation here. So now it makes it a little fun. So I think we can do is let's add some little centerpiece down here. See what we got. Yeah. Some coaster statue? Yeah, it's kind of cool. Kind of sick. I like that. We could add something a little dynamic as well. I always like to add a little bit of quality, a little detail, and something a little dynamic. So in this case, I think we go with the special effects. And you can kind of just figure out exactly what you specifically really like, because right? It's your park. You want to really make it personalized to you. So for me, this is a really good example of what my little pockets of me are going to be. So spend a little more time on here. Now, in an ideal world, you could spend hours upon hours on everything, but focus your time on the stuff that you really want to make your own. So I think the fountains would be cool. You know what? Actually, no. We're gonna do a little fountain with a little waterfall. Too big. Where is the small? See how small I can get this. Not gonna work. Well, maybe actually, you know what? Let's do this. We're gonna have the waterfall actually come out of its mouth, which is pretty cool. And then we get the waterfall middle. To a smaller one. We'll do some waterfalls elsewhere. Cool, and then we get the waterfall bottom. Pretty simple. Nice. Yeah, just like that. Adds a little bit of dynamic quality. Your eye locks onto it. And then maybe like we did before, let's add something connected to the coaster. We should be good. Maybe we can do it over here, connected to the restaurant. So it makes that eating experience a little bit better. We get a little splash maybe, that could be kind of fun. Yeah, I'll make a little splash down. Try that. Add a little variation just so it looks a little different. Kind of change the angles and stuff like that. Cool. Got a little water in here. There's the waterfall bottom. Cool. So as people are eating, and then we're gonna have our. That's a little too big. Try that. Cool. Let's get one more trigger in there for this coaster. And our little pocket of ice, I think, should be about done. Maybe we got a little greenery as well. So, people eating get an experience, people hanging out get an experience around the coaster, and people on the coaster. So we're actually tripling down. Alright, we'll go splash down. Nice. Alright. Need to add some objects. This is going to be a little trickier. I think we can get it though. 1, 2, 3, confirm. And this one's going to be a little trickier to time. I think we do starts at, needs to pass it, so 30, 40, 50? Let's see how that goes. The lines calm down a little bit. And that should be pretty solid. And that basically is just going to make the experience of the restaurant even better as well. So people who eat there get more satisfaction coming out and they stay happier. Oh, here we go. We got one coming around. Let's see how we did. I might just make it all splash at once, to be honest, but let's see how it does. Around the corner. Yeah, we did. Alright. Looks not bad. But we need to make it a little later because the coaster has to pass it beforehand. Alright, so that should be perfect. Nice. Got a couple more benches so people can hang out here. There's an example of, talk about a little pocket of view. Right. I'd hang out there. Just kind of relax, for eating, kind of watch what's going on. Nice. Pretty good. Alright, let's see if one gets around one more time. Alright, I think we're coming around. I think we got it this time. Let's see though. Man, jam-packed. Making some bank. Alright, here we go. See if we got it. I think we found our thumbnail. Oh yeah. Alright, so we're in. We have stats, maybe. Not. Alright, starting to make money though. Alright, I think why don't we finish off the rocks around here. Let's add some We could just add some general scenery around everywhere to close everything up, and then we should be good. All right, well, I think we about have it where we want it. So I think maybe we'll just do a super quick tour, maybe take a ride on the coaster, and we can call it a day. We added our awesome sign here. Named it Waddell Creek, an homage to my favorite surf spot down off of Highway 1. Highly recommend the spot if you haven't been there. So, have our nice entrance here, some lovely music. Go around. Use some great consistency with all of our different types of scenery. We have our, we call it a volcano section. Our thrill ride. We come around here, we're entering into the Carousel area. It's our lovely balloon stand. See already some people are making some purchases. Our lovely carousel. More importantly, we have our carousel with some awesome water features. We have our nice restaurant with its grotto view. See if we can get a coaster train to come by. Looks like our handyman's a little tired. Heading over to the staff room, hopefully. Not bad. Couple drink shops. Some more souvenir shops. Nice little mermaid statue. Again, just adding a nice little water quality. Nice, got some pictures going on. Yeah, that's about it. Not bad for our nice little entry section here. I can see we're already making some money. Should well fund our next section. And lastly, why don't we take a little ride here on the coaster and we'll get out of here. Nice, here we go. So basically the plan is we are going to move on from here. We're going to add on that next little section. Basically the idea is that we'll have a couple different areas branching out from here. And next one, I haven't quite decided yet, but I think it's going to have to be English themed since I actually just got back from the trip from London. So I think we'll call it there. Enjoy the rest of the ride. And in the meantime, get out there and build the park of your dreams.